For me, sustainability means what it should mean, that whatever you're talking about should be sustained. That's where the word is derived from. The bases in the earth, in the soil, in the biodiversity, in a stable climate system, they should be sustained, which means you must respect ecological laws and ecological processes. Society must be sustained. You must respect the justice, human rights, equality, because too much polarization destroys society. Too much exclusion creates violence. These are the two things that need to be sustained. The rest takes care of itself. We've reached a stage where the injustice to human beings and the violence to the earth are so extreme, and yet we address these two problems as totally separate. And for the majority of the world, earth rights are their human rights. The rights of a peasant to their piece of land to not be displaced by a dam, a factory, a land grab is the same as the rights of the earth. They are not separate. You do need a stable planet, a stable ecosystem to sustain your life and your economy. The paradox is societies that imagine they don't need the earth and therefore humans can live independent of the earth are the ones who are exploiting it most. They need it even more than that little peasant living directly on a 1 acre patch of land. So in the South, it's very clear there is no separation between human rights and earth rights. And now as a global community, as an earth community, we need to awaken to this. Why do I say this is a new paradigm? Because not only does it get rid of this extremely artificial polarization, oh, the environment works against development, concerns for sustainability work against concern for poverty, these are artificial polarizations. But more importantly, the North-South divide can only be overcome when we realize we are part of one planet and we have to find ways to live that all of us can sustain the planet and live equitably on the resources the earth gives us. I think the clarity of vision about our dependence on the earth, our relationship with the earth, is of course much clearer in the part of the world that is not separated by both the worldview of industrialism and the resource distancing of industrialism, where your life depends on the aluminium and steel that came out of mines in some village in India, but you have no idea that it was the earth that provided it. So the alienation, the separation, of course, is much deeper in what is called the center of the current economy. But that center is already deeply unstable. Look at the situation in Europe. And to keep living under the illusion that a collapsing center will be the center of the future is an illusion. I think what we have called a periphery will be the new center. The earth has been pushed to the periphery, it will be the new center. Women were pushed to the margins, they will be the new center. The South and the communities of the South will be the new center. You know, I did my doctoral work on non-separability in quantum theory. And just as much as quanta are not separable, the local and the non-local, the local and the global are not separable. We've been made to think of these levels in Cartesian ways. The national is separate from local, and we're not just separate, opposite to. The global is opposite to national sovereignty. But we have to redefine people's sovereignty, national sovereignty, global sovereignty in ways that the global is the planetary global, not the supermarket global, not the shopping mall global, which is how we are made to think. The global I talk about is a global of a human family, one. We are one. We might be white and brown. We might be fat and thin. We might be old and young, and we might be men and women, and it doesn't matter. At the end of it, we are all human. And that common humanity must be our new defining characteristic. But at the same time, our common earth citizenship must be. how do you reclaim Earth citizenship? By looking after the soil in your particular place, protecting the forests and gardens in your particular place, making sure where you are, your food, your water, your mobility, move towards sustainability. And there is no global without billions of locals. And that is the continuity that I see. Every local shapes a global. Every global impacts a local. And so every action of ours is part of a global transformation. I think as we lead up to the Earth Summit, the Rio +20, this clash between the idea that all that the planet is commodities to be profited from and therefore privatized, and another worldview which sees the Earth as living, her gifts as common resources, as our commons, therefore to be equitably shared, but equally looked after, that we have equal responsibility to protect the commons. That is where the change will come. I think it's going to be a deep, deep clash between our idea of commodification and privatization and the recovery of the commons and the common good. Where will the idea of the common good come? Everywhere. When I see the young people on the streets of Madrid, the indignados, or I go address the Occupy Wall Street in front of Wall Street in New York, they're all talking about the commons. The reason they are inhabiting public spaces, like the squares, is because for them, reclaiming public spaces, the public good and the commons is vital against a worldview of privatization through two tricks. The trick of financial capital, where you use the control over financial resources as a right to investment to grab anyone's resources. And the second is a technological trick. Call anything technology and grab. But technology is a means. Resources are the beginning. Human needs are the end. Technology must be a bridge between what the earth provides and what humans need. It cannot become the measure of power to appropriate, the power to be brutally unjust, the power to destroy this planet.